I'm really sorry you had to experience such hell without getting a payoff of heaven.
That's the tagline for this book.
Oh my gosh, it gets better. But you made it. I hope your time here is worth the agony you just experienced.
We have to make note to self, revisit this quote the last episode as we play our triumphant music in the background.
And remember, in Tyra's words,
it wasn't worth it in the end, but hey, you did it.
Hey guys, it's Legend Wings, aka Mackenzie, and I'm back with my friend Kaylee to read you the final chapters of Modelland. So, Kaylee, this looks like a different place than we were in before.
Why, yes, it does. Your hair also looks a whole lot shorter.
Yes, and I think, in fact, it's about a year and a half since the last time we recorded.
Yep, that's about right. You want to tell us why?
I would love to explain the perils I have faced with our final recording. Now, we recorded this final episode, the last 4 chapters, in November of 2019.
Yep.
And we were all set, and just the other month, as I was getting ready to do all my edits, the audio and video looked like this.
We're gonna get all fancy for the finale. Now we're just let's just get this over with.
Yep. Yep. Just because you don't know how to say the chapter title.
No.
Hey guys, it's Legend Wings or Mackenzie, back again with my friend Kaylee for the last time.
That was not a lot of fun to deal with. My husband tried to help me place everything back together, and try as he may, it wasn't quite my perfectionist standard of what I was hoping to have for a final product for everybody. So, what I'm thinking we'll do is I do still have that original recording, but we've cut out all the gaps of audio automatically using Audition. It just means everybody sounds really, really fast. So we're going to speak very fast, but you can at least get our real first reactions to the last 4 chapters of Modelland. And then today, we're going to re-react to Modelland. Now, granted, it has been so long since I visited the end of this book, I don't remember anything that happens, really. I remember the final scene, and that's it.
Yep. We've been obviously re-editing the clips and stuff, so we've been going back through the book as we went along, but I don't remember, like, the last chapter before this. We just tried to skim through some of it, but so if we don't remember what we've said before or some of the predictions we made, cut us a little slack.
Yeah, it's been a hot second, and it's been, it's just been a wild ride.
So since we're going to re-record this, we figured that we'd go all out. We'd get all dressed up, and as you can tell, we've made ourselves some smizes.
Guys, we're going to Modelland. Aren't you so excited for us?
We're so thrilled.
It's uncanny, really. The only thing we're missing are the eyelashes. I should have gotten some black feathers to make some spindly eyelashes.
Just get the fake eyelashes, glue them around here.
It's so bad. Guys, aren't we so attractive now?
But, no, these make you beautiful and give you a 90-something% chance of getting into Modelland.
So, without much further ado, where did we leave off last time? Do you remember at all?
So they found out about the history of the Belladonna, and she's really Cetilda-El's mom, and Wingtip is the dad.
That
and
was the plot twist.
It was a terribly set up plot twist. Yes, it was a plot twist, but there should have been, other clues along the way that would have hinted at Wingtip without telling us, but whatever.
Yeah.
So that happened, and I believe it ended with Creamy being impaled on one of the spikes of the Belladonna's dress.
Yeah. Kids book, everybody. So on that note, we're going to hop in to chapter 45 of Modelland. La Camera Bruta. I don't know what that means or what that's anything in reference to.
The brutal camera? That would be my guess.
I'm guessing it's the brutal camera. Let's see what happens. Chapter 45. Footsteps rang out in the hall. The heavy iron and concrete doors blocking off the flashback room rose. Tookie thought it might be Miracle. Oh gosh, I forgot Miracle was spelled like that. But Gennaro Nars rushed in, followed by 6 Bestostero guards. Cut the primping, Belladonna. I don't remember what he sounded like. Your crowd has been sitting in their seats so long, they're starting to stink like last year's trends. He gestured to the stadium scene projected on the wall. The acrobats had wandered off, and the jungle cats had been stuffed back into their cages because they'd become too restless and violent to be loose.
Well, that's typically how wild jungle cats are.
Just slightly. And then he eyed the grisly scene. The dirty, bloodied woman on the floor, the pool of blood around her getting larger by the second. I'm surprised she's not dead. The bloody spikes in the Belladonna's gown. What in knockoff handbag hell have you done? Oh, he whispered. What in knockoff handbag hell have you done? He whispered to the Belladonna and pressed his long, slender fingers to his mouth. A muscle twitched in the Belladonna's throat. It was an accident, she croaked helplessly. No, it wasn't, a voice piped up. Everyone looked over. It was Persimmon. Her face hard, cold. I saw the whole thing, the mannequin said. It was deliberate.
I don't remember, was it actually an accident or not? We know that Persimmon has a lot of beef with the Belladonna for what she did or failed to do to help her out.
I'll insert a playback clip here. Persimmon, the Belladonna cried, her expression full of horror and betrayal. You know that's not true. Take it back now. Persimmon didn't move. For a moment, her face flickered between pure hatred and undying loyalty, but it settled on resentment. I don't know what that looks like. You deserve it, her expression seemed to say, and then she turned and walked silently out of the room. The Belladonna gazed around frantically, searching for anyone who might back her up. Finally, her gaze landed on Tookie. Tookie, she screeched. You saw everything. You know I didn't mean to hurt your mother. Help me.
You must understand the pressures of ruling a kingdom.
A pang of guilt shot through Tookie. The Belladonna had chosen Tookie to come to Modelland, after all. But Tookie knew it hadn't been for the right reasons. She knew that danger still lurked somewhere. She just wasn't sure where, or in what form. And honestly, Tookie couldn't tell if the Belladonna had meant to stab her mother or not. It all happened so fast.
It all happened so fast. So fast.
Slowly, she shook her head. I'm sorry, Belladonna, but you hurt my mother really badly. I can't help you. I'm sorry. You can't pin-tuck your way out of this one, Gennaro giggled nastily. And he dragged the screaming, writhing Belladonna out of the room by her 7-inch stilettos. And break. Finally, 3 hours, 37 minutes, and 28 seconds after everyone had gathered in the stadium.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
Tyra has used the M-break correctly.
It's finally happening!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
It showed a passage of time.
Oh my goodness.
And it's a better break than either stopping the chapter or just doing a new paragraph. She used it correctly.
Yay, Tyra! Yay! Finally, 3 hours, 37 minutes, and 28 seconds after everyone had gathered in the stadium, Gennaro Nars walked onto the stage, his face drawn and serious. He conferred with the board for a moment. Every board member gasped. The huddle broke, and Nars approached the microphone. May I have your attention? His voice boomed. The crowd immediately went silent and still. No one breathed. Nars cleared his throat. While you all have been sitting here in your seats like unwanted hempsoon eco-fashion on a biodegradable shelf, something tragic has happened here on Modelland grounds. You don't deserve to know the details, but I will share with you one thing. The 7-7 tournament is postponed. The crowd gasped indefinitely. The upper-class bellas all screamed. And there will be no day of discoveries tomorrow either, Nars went on, looking pained. Modelland is shutting down until further notice. Merci and sayonara. Danke and zaijan. Gracias and arrivederci. End break. Oh, this was a heavy... Oh, no. Oh, no. I just 2 seconds in, and I know who's speaking, and I don't want her to speak anymore. Oh, this was a heavy day, darling. In the history of Modelland, in the history of the world, I dare say, this was one of the most disastrous, devastating, disheartening days ever. Monsieur Nars's message had reached everyone in the world at exactly the same time. The announcement flowing like lava down the mountain and incinerating everything in its wake. And darling, the immediate effects of such a decree upon the world were, well, tragic. Hospitals from Terra Bossa Nova to Tulip were flooded with victims who'd fainted from the hideous blow. Fashion designers fell into debilitating depressions, shocked that they would be given no new muses for inspiration. Some abandoned their showrooms. Others hurled themselves off their tall buildings in Ladurno, their bodies crashing to the street in front of tourists and children. This is horrifying.
This is supposed to be like a kids to young adult book. Or actually, I think it's young adult book, but God.
Preteen is what I'm feeling. And the amount of graphicness and just horror in all of this. Like, you can have scary things in a book, but to write a horror story masqueraded as a fantasy fiction novel.
It's just unnecessary violence. And on top of that, a weird message of if you suffer one disappointment, just go leap off a building and die.
Yeah.
It's not that it's shutting down forever. It just said indefinitely, but didn't say it will never happen again.
Everybody's panicking over... I'm just trying to think, like... Yes,
this is like one day after.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to understand this is a fantasy world with a fantasy problem that's going on. But it's still, these reactions just seem so horrendously over the top that I'm like, this is just bad.
Yeah.
All of Metopia's fashion factory shut down. There was no need to produce new wares after all, with no hope of new Intoxibellas to display them. Sure, there were existing Intoxibellas who were more than capable of rocking new wares, but this is fashion, darling, and fashion is obsessed with the nouveau. Factory workers spilled into the streets, angry and aimless. Some looted stores, breaking glass and stealing purses, shoes, dresses, suits. Is that what happened this year?
It's because there was no new fashion shows.
We didn't have any fashion shows in 2020. We all got really upset. But factory dependents reveled in the madness, breaking free of their semi-enslavement and adorning their malnourished bodies with the glamorous goods they were forced to produce. Hoodlums in Nordenswie, Cappuccina, and Oktoberfest defaced the Intoxibella billboards that rose high above city streets, covering them with the words liars and betrayers and Intoxibellas. I don't understand why this is happening because something was delayed. Sidewalks that read, "Where the hell is Untitled? We need her," now bore the answer, "Who the hell cares?" Rioters rushed the Sapphire Esplanade in El Adorno, grabbing perfume bottles and hurling them at one another like missiles. Vicious fights erupted in the mall corridors. People tore at one another's clothes, gouged out eyeballs, and drowned one another in the fountains. Unnecessary much? Oh my goodness. Devastated girls dragged high, medium, and low fashion from the stores to the parking lots and lit them on fire. Another group knocked over a wheeled cart selling Modelland t-shirts, hats, and coffee mugs, throwing everything into the flames. A singed, glossy photo of Untitled slowly disintegrated to ash. A flag depicted the Modelland Golden Eye Smize went up in a blue blaze. Why all the bedlam, you ask? Please tell us. Well, the one thing certain in the world, the only thing on which many people could depend, their single source of happiness and hope, had been postponed indefinitely. What did that mean? One day? Two? Or forever? Think about how you'd feel, darling. Think about if someone suffocated you, strangled you, cut off your nose, held you underwater, for that is how the globe's population felt. Guru Ganero's announcement had cut off the world's oxygen supply, and they were desperately gulping for air.
How bad is this dystopian-esque world if they take away your model celebration, at least for now, and then everything goes to hell.
I'm trying to fathom. So where I live currently, there were riots last summer, not far from where I live, and that was kind of scary. But that was for a much greater purpose than what we're seeing here. And the thing I'm trying to, if I would compare the devastation they're feeling would be more like, to me, the devastation of being, the not knowing with the coronavirus. And that being the thing that would make me so upset. And yet, we didn't have people, not in this grandeur. There are still people who dealt with a lot of feelings and struggled a lot the last year. But we weren't, because of a lockdown, gouging out people's eyes and throwing ourselves off of buildings.
Right.
And
with so much uncertainty from 2020 and just when will it be back to normal? When will it reopen? When can I go back to my job? And that's those same things in the book. But this is just so overblown. Although it is hard to compare the two since it's not like this was written after or is referencing that.
I'm just trying to think of the nearest comparison I now have that I didn't have a year and a half ago when we recorded this. I'm like, okay, now I can understand being upset and having visceral reactions to things, but I can't imagine being so upset to this degree. I was mad. I had a lot of good crying days where I just had to let it out because I was trying to plan a wedding and see people and also be respectful of the rules. And it was just a very stressful year.
At least according to right now, the vibe I get in the book is that this has only been a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But let's move on after this end break. In the depths of the stadium, Persimmon led Tookie through a dripping corridor and stopped at a heavy stone door with the words La Camera Bruta etched into it. The artery-like dungeon walls were red and pulsing, like they were inside a giant organ. There was a bloodthirsty feeling in the air, as well as the unpleasant odor of human waste. Tookie recognized the eerie place as the location where she had first seen Cetilda L. abusing herself. But she had only peeked in. She had not entered. Persimmon finally spoke. The ugly room is a place for those who have committed vile sins far worse than the ones that send Bellas to the catwalk corridor. Cetilda L. spent some time here, didn't she? Tookie asked, already knowing the answer. Persimmon nodded. Every mirror, every surface in this room reflects the most repugnant version of the transgressor. Now close your eyes. Tookie did as she was told, and Persimmon sprayed a fine golden mist around her face. Anti-repugnancy spritz, Persimmon explained, to make sure you don't experience the ugly room's effects. What's the purpose of this? Anywho, Tookie opened her eyes once more. Persimmon still stood in front of her, as if she wanted to say something. Tookie thought of the memory that she had just seen. I'm sorry, she said in a small voice, about, you. Persimmon lowered her head. So am I, she sighed, then sharply turned and walked away. A moment later, Cetilda L. stepped inside the ugly room. While Persimmon sprayed her, Tookie overheard Persimmon whispering in Cetilda L.'s ear, Do you realize that if you were never born, I'd be you? A 777. The day you took your first breath was the day my life ended. Persimmon took one last look at Cetilda L. and then left the room.
That is not Cetilda L.'s fault.
That would be the previous Belladonna that did that to you.
And on top of that, the current Belladonna, after she ascended to be the Queen Belladonna, why didn't she, if Persimmon really is still her friend and she still felt any sort of remorse, why did she not turn her back into a human? It's implied that the Queen Belladonna could do it. Why can't the Belladonna do it now?
She didn't feel like it.
I guess not. Or maybe you can't undo the magic of the previous Belladonna. I don't know, but
it's a lawless land. I think she can do whatever she wanted to, and she did not want to help her friend.
I guess not.
When Cetilda L. opened her eyes, she looked guilty, fragile, and naive instead of confident and strong. She turned to go after Persimmon, but stopped when she heard Tookie's voice. Cetilda L., it's not your fault, or Persimmon's. You're both victims. Are you okay? Cetilda L. shrugged. I have no idea. Oh, I have no idea. She sounded absolutely drained. An ominous voice boomed from above, as if the room itself was speaking to them. The gates will rise, and you two can see your mothers now. Okay. Tookie and C Tilda L walked together down the long, dark red corridor, and they were greeted with a new smell, the stench of rotting flesh, which grew stronger with every step. They stopped at a room that looked like a gaping red mouth, badly lit and filled with shadows and more rancid smells. The belladonna sat upright in a chair, dressed in a gray ugly room jumpsuit, similar to the one C Tilda L had worn. Her body faced a wall of mirrors, which reflected not the lovely woman they had seen in the flesh for the first time, but a pockmarked, scaly-skinned beast. She had entrails for hair, a twisted tree root for a nose, and millipedes for eyelashes. The belladonna writhed in pain at her hideous reflection, but she couldn't turn away. A restraint around her head forced her to face forward. Her wrists and ankles were bound to the chair, which was bolted to the floor. Metal clamps held her eyes open, making blinking impossible. A saline stream dripped into her eyes from a clear bag above. "Oh," Tookie gasped, averting her eyes. The belladonna's face reminded her of a ghastlier version of her own at THBC. Next to her, Creamy, also dressed in an ugly room jumpsuit, lay on a cot, her filthy feet splayed out, her dingy, wrinkled skin looking even more puckered and damaged than usual. Her soot-caked eyes were shut tight. Tubes protruded from her veins. Wires stretched from her nose. A bag was attached to her gut, draining blood. Bellissima lay on her back next to Creamy. Someone had kindly wiped the dirt from the doll's face. Tookie studied Creamy carefully. "My mom doesn't look that much different from when she was in the flashback room." "I guess the ugly room figured she was already dirty and ugly enough," C Tilda L said. Tookie looked desperately at C Tilda L. "Do you think my mom's going to die?" C Tilda L pulled out a chair for Tookie to sit and read a medical chart at the foot of Creamy's cot because she knows how to read one of those. "It says here that no vital organs were hit, but that she's lost a lot of blood. It looks like it's touch and go. But if your mom survives, Tookie, she'll probably remain in the ugly room for a long time, possibly a life sentence. She broke a serious rule by invading Modelland. You saw the flashback. She was banned for life." Tookie inched closer to Creamy's cot. The woman looked so small, nothing like the Creamy Tookie knew back in Metopia. The flashback Tookie had just lived through swam through her mind, filling her with confusion, awe, and shame. Who was Creamy? How had she been capable of such terrible betrayal of a girl who was supposed to be her best friend? How was it that Tookie never knew about any of this, and yet she lived under her mother's roof for 15 whole years? The mysterious creature who lay before her had never uttered a word about being at Modelland, knowing the belladonna, or Wingtip, Ray-Faye. But then again, would Tookie have wanted to know about any of it? Tookie touched her mother's foot. It was ice cold. Creamy, she struggled to get the words out. I love you. And all I ever wanted is for you to love me back. Creamy didn't answer. All Tookie heard was the sucking sounds of her mother's blood in tubes. Sorry, I just noticed there's somebody walking by the window, and I'm like, I wonder what he sees right now. A couple of girls in feathered masks all dressed up reading to their iPad. Sorry to break the moment.
Way to kill the mood.
Creamy didn't answer. All Tookie heard was the sucking sounds of her mother's blood in the tubes. Tookie glanced at C Tilda L, who was slumped over, whispering her own plaintive, pent-up feelings to the belladonna's turned back. I was raised in poverty, with barely anything, but a wonderful woman raised me and 3 other beautiful girls. Hendel, Woodland, and Catherine. Then I got chosen to come to Modelland, and I had to leave them all. It was so hard, but never once did you acknowledge I was yours. The belladonna didn't respond. I know you loved me before, Tookie continued, her heart pounding. I saw that one flashback when I was a baby. What happened after that to make you hate me? Did you ever want me back after you got your youth back? C Tilda L asked the belladonna. Did you ever come looking for me after you became an Intoxibella? C Tilda L and Tookie were crying out in stereo, their own small chorus of pain and questioning. Or were you happy to give me up in exchange for your beauty? Why didn't you ever think I was special? Tookie said. All of a sudden, she realized she wasn't stuttering any longer. You should have, Creamy, because I am. Even if I don't belong here, I'm still worth something. I know that now. C Tilda L wiped the tears from her cheeks and stared at the belladonna. When I went off message, when I dug up, C Tilda L paused, obvious in pain. Then she continued, When I did what I did, why did you bring me back here? You should have just sent me away somewhere. Cut me loose. Been free of me for life. That's what you wanted. Suddenly, the belladonna wrenched her head, breaking free from the restraint. She turned and stared into C. Tilda L's eyes so harshly that C. Tilda L jumped back. Listen to me, child, because I will only say this once. Gennaro was going to kill you for what you did. Your act threatened everything we stand for here, C. Tilda L. We were all livid, furious, disgusted by your actions, and I was embarrassed. But Nars, oh, he was the worst. He put a price on your head, and even though I detested what you did and knew it was justifiable to punish you with death, I could not let that happen. Not to my child. Your day of discovery was so long ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I brought you here so I could spend every day with you, so that I could watch you grow and learn and live close to me. I realized it was too little, too late. I realized it did not make up for giving you away, but it's the best I could do. No, it's not. You could have refused to give me up in the first place, C. Tilda L roared. Thank you. Clutching the belladonna's arm. You could have let go of your pride and your vanity and raised me up, kept me as your own. I know that now, but you saw everything in that flashback. The difficult position I was in, the lies, the trickery. I was confused. But what's done is done, C. Tilda L. The decision I made that day was the worst decision of my life. I've always regretted it. I've always wondered, what if? Yes, I've been hard on you this past year, but it's because I'm looking out for you.
Everything I did was to protect you.
I'm trying to save you from harm.
No, it's all right. Listen to me. All of this is as it should be.
If you do not reform, Nars has every right to execute you. You are my whole world, C. Tilda L. More than Modelland. More than anything.
She's the queen. She's
I know.
She's in charge.
She's a god among these people. So why is she in jail and have to listen to her subordinate?
Yep.
It's a lawless land. There are no laws here. Everybody just takes charge when it's necessary. The belladonna erupted into violent sobs. When I had you, I looked into your gray eyes. They're green now. And the first thing I said was, I see love. And C. Tilda L. I forgot about this.
I'm remembering.
And C. Tilda L. Every time I see you, even right now, I see love. That's how I named you. C. Tilda L. See love.
This is so dumb.
It's a creative name, but I won't be taking that route with any of my children. C. Tilda L's mouth dropped open. Her chin trembled. She was trying desperately not to cry. Really? She whispered tenderly. Yes, baby, the belladonna blubbered. Yes, my love. Tears ran down. Let's just forget about all the abuse that I endured under your hands right now because you named me after love.
On top of this, she brought C. Tilda L to Modelland, had the opportunity to treat her like a daughter and treat her well, which she probably did. Why would you not tell her at some point, be like, hey, I'm your mother? I'm assuming C. Tilda L knows that she's adopted because she's always referred to like the girl she was raised with as her sister friends, implying that they're like sisters, but they know they're not related.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she knows she's adopted. If the belladonna really wanted to like try and reconnect with her daughter, she could have told C. Tilda L. That might not have worked out well. I'm sure C. Tilda L. really would have been angry, upset, but maybe they could have worked this out before it came to this terrible revelation.
Any logical character or person would have worked this out, but because this is such an illogical book that depends on conflict to drive its story.
And now they've also been punishing C. Tilda L. and just about torturing her, all under the belladonna's direction. Yeah, and now is this just gonna wipe it away with the...
Yeah, it's fine.
Your name is C. Love.
I named you after love, therefore I am good, and you have no reason to judge me anymore. Tears ran down C. Tilda L's cheeks. She tore away the leg and wrist restraints. She ripped her leg off. She tore away the leg and wrist restraints on the belladonna. The shackles fell to the ground. Tilda then collapsed her head onto her mother's lap, and the belladonna leaned forward, embracing her daughter. The only sounds in the ugly room were the racking sobs of Tilda and the belladonna, when, without warning, the sound of heavy doors banging filled the space. Guards rushed in and surrounded Tilda and the belladonna. Gennaro Nars pushed to the front of the group. "Get up, body girl. You're coming with us." He grabbed Tilda. A look of fear flashed across Tilda's face. Tookie recalled what the belladonna had just said about Nars wanting to kill her. The belladonna stood up. "Nars, get your hands off my daughter." Gennaro wrinkled his nose. "Oh, now she's your daughter. Fair."
Yeah.
Then he looked at Tilda with hatred. "Body girl, you must pay for who you are and what the hell you have become." Tookie jumped to her feet too. "Tilda!" she cried. "Shut up, crazy eyes!" Nars screamed, and the guards dragged Tilda out of the room. Tookie took one last look at her mother and then slipped out of the ugly room, following close behind.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Chapter 46. With perfect execution. Beautification Boulevard was pandemonium. Bellas walked around in a daze, not understanding what was happening. Okay, so this implies it's still like within the same day or maybe the day or so after, and the world has already gone to chaos.
Yeah.
The upper-class Bellas, their fates suspended indefinitely, cried in protest. Zen lay in a heap outside the stadium, tears and makeup running down her face. "I can't believe this," she wailed. "I held on to my no-see Tilda look for 48 whole minutes. I could have done it today. I could have become an Intoxibella." Mannequins rushed around, but without instructions from the belladonna, they were aimless and useless. Everyone knew something was up, but they didn't know what. A mob flanked Tilda and Gennaro as they emerged from the ugly room. "Where is the belladonna?" voices cried. "Why is she not showing herself? Why has she postponed the 7-7 tournament? Why is she doing this to us?" Nars didn't answer, whipping past them without even giving them a second look. Then the girls noticed Tilda, whom the guards were dragging by her hair. Horrible screeches emitted from Tilda's mouth. "What are you doing to her?" the girls asked. Zen ran to the front of the crowd. "Let Tilda go! You're hurting us!" she shrieked. Nars shoved Zen aside. Tookie breathed heavily to keep up with Nars and Tilda as they marched toward the M. When Nars approached the building, the entrance slid open. The guards pushed Tilda inside. Tookie slipped in just before the giant doors closed once more. The sounds of the angry mob were muffled once the doors banged shut. No one stopped her. No one saw her. If there was ever a good time to be a forget-a-girl, this was it. Nars led Tilda down the glass corridor Tookie recognized from the last time she'd been in the M. Then he slapped a button on a wall, and a large frosted glass door split into two halves and swung open. Tookie blinked to adjust to the stark brightness of the room. Inside was the grand chamber she had seen before. Bizarrely shaped windows, some like triangles, some like trapezoids, some round portals, speckled the high walls. Tookie felt like she was entrapped in a surrealist crystal painting. That's like all of Modelland.
Yeah.
The three-dimensional tic-tac-toe board loomed at the front of the room, seemingly transported back from the stadium. A member of the board occupied each seat, staring down on Tilda as the guards pushed her into a bright golden spotlight. For once, the eyes of the board members were wide open. Their faces were alert, interested, maybe even nervous. Guru Applause's head hand was chewing one of its own fingernails. Is that like almost like cannibalism? Like eating yourself? Oh, it's a fingernail.
We could chew on our own fingernails, but it's still, it just seems something wrong with the hand head.
And your mouth
or
is like here.
Well, it's got a hand head, but it also has other hands, so it might be.
That's true. Tookie slipped behind a wall of glass that had just turned opaque, her heart pounding. Tilda peered at the waiting tribunal. Her hands shook by her sides, her knees knocked. What else do I have to do? I'm on message. Modelland is perfect. One type of beauty is the only beauty that exists. Blah, blah, blah. See? A loud gavel struck the glass table and shattered it, cutting Tilda off. I've had just about enough of you, body girl, Nars growled. Then he signaled for the board. They rose in unison. Without a word, Nars dragged Ctildel to a contraption and slammed her head into what looked like a crystal guillotine.
Oh, I do not remember this.
Oh boy. Guards, he called behind him. Let's hurry up and get this over with. Tookie's scalp prickled. Her stomach churned. They were going to behead Ctildel. Why is this a thing?
I mean, it's not any more or less graphic than everything else we've faced in this book so far.
2 guards marched up to the guillotine, their faces grave. The other board members visibly quivered. Tookie could hear her pulse racing in her ears as one guard smoothed Ctildel's hair away from the back of her neck. The other adjusted the guillotine. The first guard held Ctildel's shoulders still. Please, Ctildel screamed. Just hurry up and do it. The diamond blade glimmered in the light, blinding Tookie, just like her mother's mirror had blinded Chris Crumb-Crobat on the tightrope many years before. She squinted for a moment, watching the blurry guillotine rushing towards Ctildel's neck. Just as the blade reached it, red liquid gushed from Ctildel's neck, covering her body, and then an object appeared on Ctildel's head. A fashionable, off-kilter crown. It's italicized.
Oh boy.
The red liquid transformed into a fabric, a stately red damask cape.
Whoa.
All at once, the other board members began to applaud. To the new belladonna! The color returned to Ctildel's cheeks. She stood and looked around confusedly, then felt the crown on her head with the tips of her fingers. Is this a joke? Unfortunately, no, body girl, Nars growled. You are the belladonna's daughter. You are technically royalty, Guru Applauses said. And as you know, the mantle of La Belladonna passes from one member of La Famille Royale to the next. You, Ctildel, are the only living heir. Once your Bella lineage was verified, we summoned you here. It was almost unanimous, it said, eyeing Gennaro. But my extra hand in the air got us slave votes we needed. But a vote was très unnecessary. Royalty always prevails. I flipped the bird to the democracy.
Good.
Okay, so their process of coronation is
decapitation.
Why? This is the stupidest. Is it a red herring? It's the stupid.
It is
plot twist joke
solely for the purpose of freaking the reader out, and there is no presented logical reason why we would use any form of execution to anoint our new leader.
This is so stupid. So dumb.
Well, you could still take her to a freaky area and be like, I feel like what a better use would have been was like maybe a sword to dub somebody, and you could have been like, ha, I dubbed the new queen of Modelland.
Something.
And the guillotine's a little much.
Especially because there's so much connotation with like beheading royalty as well.
Yeah.
This made no sense.
Yeah.
Ctildel scratched her head. Me? The belladonna? Seriously? Oui, ma belle petite. Come on now, take your rightful seat, Guru Applauses said, gesturing to the middle throne on the risers. Ctildel looked at it, a frightened expression crossing her face. Gennaro raised his brows hopefully. You can say no. It is an immense responsibility. After all, body. Ctildel shot him a don't you dare look, cutting him off. If you call me body girl one more time, Gennaro, that is no way to speak to the newly crowned belladonna.
That's fair.
Is that a yes? The other board members said in unison. Ctildel nodded. I suppose it is, she said, smirking at Nars. Everyone except Nars began to applaud. Yes, Tookie screamed, forgetting she was in hiding. The guards whipped around. They spied Tookie and lunged for her. Gennaro screeched, What are you doing here? The seamstress? Applauses said, confused.
That's right.
I'm sorry, Tookie stammered. I was just Gennaro cut Tookie off, pinning her arms behind her back. Princess Belladonna, I will handle this crazy-eyed, shouldn't-be-a-Bella intruder. It took Ctildel a moment to realize that Gennaro was addressing her. Slowly, she descended from her throne and approached Tookie. What are you doing here? What, did you follow me here? You are not allowed in the M building. I just wanted to help you, Tookie cried. I was afraid you were in trouble. I can take care of myself, Ctildel spat. Oh my god, Ctildel has turned into a demon again. Where can I run? Tookie thought, panicked. Ctildel spun around and eyed Gennaro and the guards. Release her immediately. I will punish her myself. Gennaro smirked, pleased. The guards dropped Tookie's arms and Ctildel said, Psych! Tookie, I was totally kidding. I was spooky, huh? Like before when I was crazy, but I'm not crazy now, but I feel crazy because I'm the freaking Belladonna. I'm so nervous and now I'm sweating again. You know how I sweat. Ugh, come here, girl. And then Ctildel wrapped Tookie in a big hug.
You love when characters just stop acting like themselves.
There is no reason for this. Poor Tookie has spent this much, probably about here, this much of the book being terrified of Ctildel and thinking that she's going to be murdered, tortured, and killed. And now Ctildel has just decided that, I'm gonna freak this poor girl out.
Our endearing ruler.
Who just has watched the Belladonna just about murder her mother, has heard these really unexpected revelations from the people she thought she knew, and now has just started to trust Ctildel and is trying to build a better relationship and friendship with her. And Ctildel is just like, just throw it out the window. You haven't had enough emotional trauma. I'm going to pretend I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, that's great. Good friends.
Tyra has only written this part to try and unnecessarily build conflict and tension, and then just rips the rug right out from under the reader again. And it's like, psych. No, this is awful characterization and awful writing.
It's not worth it.
It's like she's trying to do all these unnecessary plot twists. They're not needed. They're not useful. They're just frustrating and annoying at this point.
Very much so.
Ctildel, you totally freaked me out, Tookie said, giggling nervously. I thought you were gonna kill me. Gennaro, Ctildel called out to Nars, don't you dare harm a curly, straight, wavy, or frizzy hair on her head. Ever. Gennaro grimaced like he smelled something foul, but reluctantly nodded. Thank you, Tookie whispered to Ctildel, dipping into a respectful curtsy. Ctildel snickered. Oh, get up. There's not going to be any of that idiotic kowtowing during my reign. She looked at Nars. And you, if you have a problem with treating Tookie with the respect she deserves, you can kiss my big fat Princess Belladonna ass. Gennaro just stared in shock. And speaking of kissing, I want you, Mr. Nars, to bow down right now to Miss Tookie and kiss her feet. Nars blinked hard. What? Yeah. That's right. Ctildel placed her hands on her hips. I'm the Princess Belladonna, baby. The head biatch in charge. And from now on, you will do whatever I say. Oh, there's a grammatical error. They capitalized whatever.
I think she did it for emphasis.
She did, but if you're already breaking it up and doing one word period, just stop it there.
That's fine.
Reluctantly, Gennaro took mincing steps up to Tookie. He fell to his knees, puckered his lips, and kissed Tookie's shoes, which were still soiled with ugly room crud. And Tookie had to admit, it felt pretty damn good.
I would just be weirded out. I'm like, you don't need to do that, just leave me, please.
I mean, it's probably really, I can't think of the word, but it probably makes her feel nice that this person that's been such a jerk to her now has to bow down and do what she says. Probably does feel nice.
Chapter 47. I can't tell if that's a V or a U. La Lingua.
I think it's supposed to be a U,
La Lingua?
Only because I don't know how you'd say La Lingua.
La Lingua. Tookie emerged from the M building and started back toward the D, still numb with shock. Had it really happened? Was Cetilla truly the new Princess Belladonna? Had Gennaro honestly kissed Tookie's dirty, oversized feet as though she were the queen of Gaudi? Pure, unfiltered happiness filled her from the tips of her toes to the top of her head. She couldn't wait to tell the Unikas what had happened. She could just picture Dylan almost fainting from glee, Shiraz doing a victory dance, and Piper smiling, hypothesizing how Modelland's conditions would improve under Cetilla rule. The whole world around Tookie glistened as though it had been scrubbed clean. Many girls along Tookie's walk were still distraught, some hysterical, over the abrupt ending of the 7-7 tournament. Only Kamalini walked among the crowd unscathed and unbothered, bopping to her headbanger.
She probably doesn't know what the hell happened.
She's in her little bubble. That'd be me. I'd be like, I don't know what this chaos is, but I got my podcast and my music, and I'm okay.
Didn't even hear a word of the announcement or anything.
Nope. Tookie wanted to throw her arms around the girl. If Kamalini hadn't told her to run into the O on the first day there, Tookie might not be at Modelland today. But Kamalini was too far away. Tookie would have to thank her later. Tookie was overflowing with delight and practically skipped down the path toward the D entrance. A rustling sound in the bushes made her stop. Zizi stepped out from behind the bushes, eyeing Tookie dangerously. Tookie froze, her euphoria suddenly fading away. She wasn't in the mood for a confrontation. Look, Zizi, for the last time, I didn't tell anyone your secret, okay? I know, Zizi said. Tookie blinked hard. You do? Zizi thrust her chin into the air. I went back to the feds and asked some questions. Dr. Erica told me everything that happened the night She told me she asked around, seeing if anyone knew anything about my history, and no one did. Not even you. Her eyebrows arched. Why didn't you tell? I mean, I would have if I were you. Survival of the fittest. First you want me to keep it a secret, now you want me to tell? Tookie threw up her hands in confusion. Whatever happened to you is your business, but your harsh reality is still no excuse to be evil, Zizi. Tookie, you are just as bad as this bee.
Yeah.
You remember most of this book? Where you're just crap talking her and smack talking her behind her back? You are no better than she is.
Yep. And later on, the book justifies Tookie's hatred of Zizi. However, that doesn't justify that she's a jerk to her. But we also, at that point, when Tookie first started this, had no clue of no hints, nothing about why Zizi was bad.
Yep.
But still, yeah, Tookie hasn't been nice to her.
She disliked her because she was popular and had Theophilus.
Her hair would look great on my wall. Thanks.
Whatever happened to you is your business, but your harsh reality is still no excuse to be evil, Zizi. This is a place for all of us to start fresh, to forget about what happened in our previous lives. Zizi leaned back and examined Tookie in full, perhaps really looking at her for the first time. Well, I guess this is where I say, I don't know, thank you, she said begrudgingly. But if you think you're going to, bond now, you're sorely mistaken. I don't need a shoulder to cry on about my crappy family. Certainly not your scraggly-ass shoulder. Whatever, Zizi, Tookie shrugged, mad at herself for even thinking Zizi had changed. Then Zizi stepped forward and stuck her finger in Tookie's face. And what... Sorry, there's big words that I've forgotten how to say. And what was all that in the Orberina about Theophilus?
Better not have been messing with my senpai boobs, Mackenzie. You get out of here! He's mine! I'll murder you. I shall murder you all.
Tookie blinked. She'd forgotten what she said about Theophilus in the heat of the moment. I just wanted to make Bravo jealous, she said in a small voice. There was no way she could get into the Theophilus argument with Zizi now. His was the first name I thought of. This seemed to satisfy Zizi, and she placed her hands on her hips. Don't ever think Theophilus would be into you. You unfortunate-looking, big-headed, crazy eyes, forgettable bitch. Stay away from him. And from me, too. Because if you ever tell, I'll make your life a living hell. Worse than the hell I live in back home. Tookie shrank back.
There goes all character development out the window.
I forbid you to take another step down these stairs!
Okay.
That was fun while it lasted. Tookie shrank back, her eyes wide, but even though she was trembling inside, she mustered a smile. You're welcome, Zizi, she said as the girl walked away. Tookie slumped down on the bench for a moment, trying to shake off Zizi's hatred. She heard the... Why does everybody come from the bushes?
Every day I worry all day. I was waiting in the bushes of love.
I still think of that. Everybody just rises out of the bushes and sings.
She heard the bushes rustle again and jumped, prepared for the wrath of Zizi. Round 2. Webb, Alexander, and O'Neill appeared from the bushes, surrounding her. A knife of fear sliced through Tookie's chest. All she could think of was the lewd things Bravo's friends had probably said to him when the four of them had hatched the bet about Tookie. She rolled her shoulders back and tried to push past them. Excuse me, she said tightly. I'm better than they are, she chanted again and again in her head. See till the Princess Belladonna thinks so. Tookie, wait, Webb said.
That's also a lovely thought to have.
Yeah.
I'm better than everyone.
I'm better than you.
Tookie, wait, Webb said, grabbing Tookie's hand, and in a split second, all three boys stripped off their uniform shirts, revealing tan, mahogany, and golden skin, and sharply defined pectoral and abdominal muscles. Tookie recoiled and turned away. Me. Now they were stripping for her? Did they want a piece of her too? I'm not everyone's bet, she shrieked. Leave me the hell alone. But then she noticed there was something written on their chests in goopy red paint. Tookie, Webb's chest said. I'm so, Alexander said, and O'Neill said, sorry. Tookie read the words, frowning. She was seething. Was this some kind of joke? She was about to turn away once more when the three boys jumped in unison, now showing her their backs. More words in the same red script was scrawled across their broad-packed muscles. It was, never, a bet. Yeah, right, Tookie spluttered. But when the boys turned back around, their expressions were plaintive and repenitent, not teasing and disrespectful. From behind, someone grabbed Tookie's shoulder, and she turned to find Bravo in a perfectly fitted velvet tuxedo. Thanks, y'all, Bravo said, slapping his friend's hands. I owe you big time.
This doesn't have the air of an apology, because it's just like guys at like football games with like stuff written on their chest, and now instead of going up to Tookie and be like, Tookie, please accept my heartfelt apology, they would just make you stop and get your attention. Now he's just like, grabs her, ignores her, and is like, yeah, great job, everyone.
It's just, I don't ship this.
No, not at all.
I don't ship anybody in this book, but I especially don't ship this.
Yeah, I don't ship anyone.
Three boys pulled on their shirts, gave Tookie a polite nod, and disappeared down the path, leaving Tookie and Bravo alone. Tookie stared at him, still not sure if this was a joke. Bravo approached her. So, he said nervously, you're back? That's right, she said stubbornly. There was a long silence. Finally, Bravo met her eyes. What they wrote on their chests is true, Tookie. There was never a bet, I swear. I only told you that because I was mad you were leaving, and I thought you used me. I opened myself up to you, and I felt all vulnerable.
She did use you.
You're not wrong. Telling you that stuff gave you a lot of control over me, and then I regretted telling you when you said you were leaving, and I stooped really low and tried to hurt you more than I was hurting. I'm so sorry. He shifted his feet on the path. But Tookie, I've never met anyone like you. I didn't want you to go. The architecture suddenly wasn't enough for me to stay here without you. Then he chuckled lightly. I wanted to write, Tookie, you're the most amazing girl I've ever laid eyes on. I can't decide which to love more, your green or your brown eye. But there wasn't enough room on everyone's chest. Believe me, I tried. Tookie stared at him, her resolve crumbling a little. All at once it made sense. The tuxedo, the writing on the chest. It was I'm just like picturing this moment in my own place and time. My husband showing up in a tuxedo and all his besties with red war paint on their chest. Yes, it's all coming together now.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Oh my god, that should have been one of this groomsmen pictures. No! All at once it made sense. The tuxedo with the writing on the chest. It was exactly what she told him she wanted during she told him she wanted that's right.
With her definitely little teenage girl fairy tale mindset.
all those crazy things she'd come up with, and he was executing them one by one. Can't wait to see what he does next. Then Bravo took her hand. I want to show you something. He started to pull Tookie across the O. They stopped at a garden Tookie had never seen before, right on the border between Modelland and Testosterone. I didn't realize they were...
Yep.
Okay. It was filled with the most beautiful golden yellow fabric flowers she'd ever seen, and they went on for a mile. It's a big place. I just planted these today.
Sure you did.
Got a lot of time on your hands, good sir.
And a lot of help, apparently.
I just planted these today, Bravo said. As soon as I saw you'd come back, me and the boys got on the job. You planted this for me? Tookie whispered, thinking again of her crazy first kiss wish. Bravo nodded. Okay, confession time. We use special Modelland multiplying seeds. Okay. Now you give it a magical excuse and we're good. Then he grabbed Tookie's hands and began to sing a strange little tune slightly off key. I don't want to sing, but I love you guys too much, so here you go. Oh, Tookie, 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 I love you more than architecture and Laro's oatmeal cookies. Went to the feds cause my heart was failing. The purse said, no, Bravo, De La Crème's got your pulse sailing. Tookie was trying with all her might to hold in her laughter. You sound really bad, Bravo. You don't have to sing for me. Ouch. This is what you wanted, and you deserve to get what you want. But you should be pissed at me, Tookie said. Because I hit you. Because I left from our zip-zap. I don't think it's anybody's zip-zap.
Also, judging by the fact that Bravo knows where it is and where it goes, and saying that'll be romantic kind of implies he's taken other girls there before Tookie. So I don't know if it's really their zip-zap.
I would say it's Bravo's romantic zip-zap. If anybody's. But you should be pissed at me, Tookie said. Because I hit you. Because I left from our zip-zap. Because of Theophilus? But you came back, Bravo said. And Theophilus, well, Theophilus isn't my boyfriend, Tookie blurted out. He's Zarpessa's, actually. I was kind of obsessed with him, but nothing ever happened. Bravo nodded, looking relieved. Oh yes, an obsession with a man. That's cool. Then he continued his song. Oh, Tookie, I never wagered your lip nookie, and your eyes is the only place I want to lookie. You've taught me about loving and giving, I was a rookie. You're so pure and sweet, and now I'm hooky. Oh, Tookie. Bravo then did a spin and tried to drop down in a half split, but almost fell over. Tookie covered her eyes. Stop it, she said bashfully. But in truth, she kind of liked this. A lot. Bravo lowered his face to hers. I still want to be your first, Tookie. Tookie's blinked hard.
They forgot to put eyes.
This is excellent. Obviously, the editors, they quit. They were not existent for this portion of the book.
I think they read through it once.
Mm-hmm.
Tyra added more changes, did some of the edits, and then they gave up halfway through. Maybe not knowing that it's Tyra's book. It's just this crap will never get published.
Yeah, we good. Don't worry about it. Who needs eyes? Tookie's blinked hard. Oh my god. Your special first, Bravo went on. He moved an inch closer and cradled her face in his hands. Your only first. Tookie shut her eyes. This was happening. How privileged I would be if you said yes, Bravo whispered, his lips puckered just so, looking extremely lush and biteable. Will you? Tookie swallowed hard. In the distance, a couple of birds sang to one another. A peal of laughter rang from the air. What happened to all the people screaming in the background and jumping off buildings? That's all. Let's pass now and we can hear the birds chirping.
The birds on this side, the screaming people are on that side.
I understand now. We can't hear them from here. A peal of laughter rang from the O, but it all sounded very far away. Privileged? For real? Bravo squeezed her hands, but he moved an inch closer and cradled her face in his hands. His hands are just everywhere.
Wait. So, okay, he cradled her face.
Yeah.
Now what?
Bravo squeezed her hands.
Okay, so he's like, Tookie. And I was like, Tookie.
Just let me touch you. Any way I can, any excuse I have to touch you right now. For real, for real. Will you say yes? She could feel his breath on her face. Her heart rocketed in her ears. Yes. But wait. Bravo leaned back, staring at her. I have a story for you. Just like the story you told me, Tookie said. Once upon a time, There was this girl named Tukalata. Tukalata, Bravo said, amused. Just go with it, okay? So anyway, nobody saw her, ever. She would lie on the floor of her school, waiting for someone to trip over her, or kick her, or anything. But no one ever did. It was like she was a piece of trash, defective, uncoordinated, unattractive, and unmemorable. Tookie cleared her throat, her skin prickling. Tukalata wanted love, she went on. She wanted affection. She wanted it so badly she collected a random item from a boy she liked. She touched the TOOOKE pin under her flower. After a moment, she reached out of the brooch, removed the pin, leaving the flower brooch where it was, and held the pin in her hand. Bravo looked at it, but didn't say anything. And she practiced kissing that boy in her mirror. When she thought she was alone, Tookie went on, twisting her mouth with the memory of how Miracle had once caught her. Tukalata was convinced that all she'd ever kiss for the rest of her life was a mirror. She was a forget-a-girl. A girl no one would ever want to kiss. A girl someone might bet on, make fun of, shun, ignore. How does the story end? Bravo said, squeezing her hand. Does Tukalata live a miserable life alone, afraid, not allowing herself to open up to anyone, running away? Or does she take a risk and realize that someone does want her, really wants her, and really loves her? Boy, you don't know what love is. You were just trying to make each other jealous because you were so hurt. You don't know what love is.
Mm-hmm.
Tookie bit her lip, staring at the grass. The second option, she whispered. Bravo poked her playfully. Hi, Tukalata. Tookie giggled and then looked up. Hi, Deco, she said in a small, shy voice. Hi, Tookie, Bravo said, staring into Tookie's eyes. Hi, Bravo. And then Bravo kissed her forehead. Then her cheeks. And then her nose. He sucked on her earlobe.
I feel like that is not step one.
No.
Not in this relationship where...
This girl has given you her permission for you to give her her first kiss. She did not permit you to suck on anywhere else on her face. Full stop. He sucked on her earlobe, sending a jolt of warmth all over her body, followed by an intense feeling of pleasure she'd never experienced before. Her back arched at his slightest touch. Tingles danced from the crown of her head down to her abdomen. She clenched her muscles, then let go, and then, at the same time, they both licked their own thumbs and smoothed the other's eyebrows. How romantic.
This is the dumbest thing.
Close your eyes, Bravo said. I had forgotten there was still this kind of left of the book.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, Bravo said, and Tookie did as she was told. She heard the sound of She heard the sound of a whipped cream can shaking and instinctively opened her mouth just in time for Bravo to shoot a cold stream of whip onto her tongue. The tingles continued down her hip lips. I think this is something she asked for, but it's still in my mind is like...
Oh, in her wacky, 13-year-old fantasy.
But I'm just... My mind being completely dirtied by this world we live in is like, close your eyes, and he's gross. The tingles continued down to her hips. She then heard Bravo squirt some cream into his own mouth. And then, slowly, gently, Bravo's soft lips touched hers. His lips parted, and she felt something thick and slimy inside of her mouth. His tongue.
Okay, so not only does he suck on her earlobe, he also decides that they're gonna French kiss first.
Yeah.
Which also,
With
in
food involved.
in my mind, I can't imagine how that would be attractive with all the whipped cream stuff there too.
I'm just thinking that would
I feel like that would be real slimy and nasty.
I feel like cream of any, dairy of any kind is a good thing in your own mouth, and when it's shared between partners, it's no longer a good thing. It's got this weird texture to it, and just like, I think of like dairy kind of coating, how it coats your teeth, or like the aftertaste it leaves in your mouth, and just imagining that.
He's got a mustache, so like, if he grabs like a glass of water and then kisses me, we're like, oh, it's so wet.
She pulled away, wide-eyed. I don't like kissing that way. Bravo looks surprised. But you've never kissed before. I know I haven't, but my mirror didn't have a tongue, Tookie said, smiling, tracing her finger across Bravo's cheek. It just feels weird. And this is about what I want, right? Good for Tookie for speaking up for herself, but this is still sounding kind of like...
Well, because I think I remember his next line.
Bravo nodded, pulling his body slightly away from hers. We can go as slow as you want, Tookie. You will set our pace. Always. And then he kissed her again, parting his lips only a little, his tongue remaining inside his mouth. He bit slightly on her bottom lip. Tookie grabbed onto the back of his neck, her body feeling hot and alive. They remained like that for a long, long time. And when they pulled back, they stared at each other as only two people who are enchanted with one another can do. A single tear fell from Tookie's brown eye. Bravo brought his lips to the wetness and kissed it tenderly. Modelland was bathed in joyful golden light. The corners of Tookie's lips felt like they might split from smiling. Ow. She wanted to prolong this moment for as long as she lived. Can we do it again? She whispered. And as they continued to kiss, Tookie opened her palm and let the defective, purloined TOOKE button fall to the grass. She didn't need it anymore.
Okay, I was wrong. I was thinking that instead of saying like, oh, we'll go at your pace, Tookie, because that's good. I had misremembered and thought that he was like, oh, you'll learn to like it.
Yes, fine, it's good.
Well, no, so then I'm pleasantly surprised by that she speaks up and then he's willing to back off and be like, all right, you're not ready for that. That's okay.
Yeah.
So that's good.
But still just kind of eerie. I don't know.
Which is, whatever.
This is a boy man that has kissed many a woman.
Yeah, this is the thing I don't like, especially about Bravo, is that it's implied he's been to Modelland for a while. He's seen Man Attack before. Mm-hmm. He's been there at least one more year, but the vibe I get from him is that he's older. And Tookie's only like 15. It makes me wonder how old he is if he is over 18, if he is an adult and Tookie's a minor.
Yeah.
And it makes me a little worried about his character and how he acts, but I just don't like their relationship.
I don't like them. It's icky.
Yeah.
So, that leads us to this unmarked chapter, which I'm going to presume is an epilogue.
Ah. Oh, I remember this shit.
I'm too old for this shit.
Do you see her? The girl whose face looks, well, maybe not symmetrical, but still quite interesting. Yes, her eyes are still 3 centimeters too far apart, and her mouth is 4 centimeters too wide. And yes, when you look at her face, you might say something is definitely off. But perhaps its unusual qualities draw your attention, making you linger. Come on now, you see her. If you tilt your head up, way up, and stare at the mountain, she's standing outside on top of the M building, her gauzy Modelland nightgown waving in the breeze. She's the girl whose hair still has multiple personality disorder and can't decide if it's supposed to be quasi-curly, silky straight, frantic frizzy, wet and wavy, or a power to the people fro. But she's kind of okay with that. The girl whose feet are still the size of last winter's snowshoes. She's not okay with that. But her body is no longer hunched over. Instead, she stands tall, like she's sprouted an inch or two, and her stick figure arms and legs are still fragile, yes. But there's still something a little more filled out about her than before. Even so, you still might hear her limbs pleading, "Feed me an entire vat of whipped cream, now!" But that's only because she fancies the delicacy so much. Her head's still the size of a punch bowl, with a forehead that goes on and on and on, but she holds it high, like someone whose big brain is filled with eloquent strings of words and brave, gutsy thoughts. But Tookie, she holds her head high, like only someone whose big brain is filled with eloquent strings of words and brave, gutsy thoughts can do. So, yeah, okay, that's fine. It's still referring to her. And her eyes, though mismatched, one green, one brown, just add to her uniqueness.
Heterochromia, just call it what it is.
Yep. They almost look, dare I say, enchanting. Do you see Tookie De La Crème up there? I bet you do. And I bet you'll remember her for a long, long time. And break.
Yay, well, at least we're done with that voice.
No, we're not.
Oh, no, why? There was an break. There was an break.
Our tale ends on a clear, starry evening, the most extraordinary of extraordinary evenings in the most extraordinary of places. And Tookie De La Crème, Modelland Bella, was not lying on the floor of B3 praying for students to trample her, but instead was standing outside atop the M building, wind in her hair, goosebumps on her bare arms. She looked down at the expanse of Metopia's 4 distinct quadrants surrounding the mountain and prayed that Lizzie was still down there, still alive. Then she ran her hand over the wide stretch of skin above her eyebrows. All of a sudden, something ironic occurred to her. The adjective form of the word Metopia was metopic, which meant, as she'd found in Dr. Erica's medical dictionary, of or pertaining to the forehead.
Sorry. That was my visceral reaction to how Tyra came up with the name of this land.
It's a wonder I wasn't the queen of Metopia. Modelland was still anything but calm, even though it was and now it switches to Tookie's voice, is the vibe that I get from this.
Cool.
Modelland was still anything but calm. Even though it was past midnight, Bella still crammed Beautification Boulevard in protest, demanding answers about why the 7-7 tournament had abruptly ceased. 7-7 contestants lay on the Golden Plaza, crying golden tears. Bastastros stood guard among the crazed Bellas, trying to keep the peace. Purses circled and doctors skated around the crowd, scooping up the girls who were on the verge of nervous breakdowns. Then, from a corner of the plaza, Tookie heard a meow, followed by a scream. Get away from me! Get away from me, you bitey, scratchy things! Creamy! A ditzy voice whined. Miracle? Tookie thought, perking up. Was her sister still at Modelland, now trapped in Catwalk Corridor? Well, at least she's here, Tookie thought, stifling a giggle. Modelland is where she belongs, after all. Isn't the view amazing? A voice said. Tookie turned, and there was Untitled, wrapped in a gauzy jumpsuit with batwing sleeves. I guess I'll get to see it all the time now. It's gorgeous, Tookie agreed. Earlier that evening, a note had been slipped under her door. Tookie, meet me tonight, spelled T-O-N-I-T-E.
The other kind of tonight, I guess.
Yep. Incorrect spelling of tonight. Tookie, meet me tonight at the south point of the M. Princess Belladonna. Can you flippin' believe it? I can't. Fierce in love. Untitled. Untitled, who had not announced her reign to the Bellas yet, the board was still debating the most opportune time to do so, had given Tookie a special permit to get into the building without setting off any alarms. Tookie had passed a few guards on her way up, but they just nodded at her like she was someone special. Maybe she was. Now, Untitled glanced at the large statue of the Belladonna. It was covered with an enormous drop cloth. Next to it, a new statue was ensconced in scaffolding. Sculptors toiled away, carving the rock. Tookie knew this new statue would be of Untitled, Princess Belladonna of Modelland. This is all so freaky, Untitled whispered. It's kind of weirding me out. Tookie looked at her. What do you think will happen to her? The old Belladonna, She trailed off, unable to say mother. Will she stay in the ugly room? I may be the Princess Belladonna, but that's not for me to decide, Untitled answered, great sadness in her voice. The board makes that decision based on a volume of rules and bylaws taller than you and thicker than me. I just hope they aren't too harsh on her. Yeah, she may have committed a crime, and she certainly did something insane that changed my childhood forever, but she's still my... She bit her lip, unable to say mother either.
You don't owe anyone who is biologically related to you that has not taken the commitment to raise you anything. Don't owe her a thing. You can feel bad for her, you can feel empathetic, you do not owe her a thing.
Nope. Then Untitled looked out over the great expanse of the land. Capitalized. You've been at Modelland a whole year, Tookie. I spoke with the board. Despite your crazy mamas trespassing and the whole T-Dot switcheroo thingy, unfortunately, you're stuck here at Modelland. She winked at Tookie. Yep, girl, they want you here. Well, Most of us do. Really? Tookie breathed out, her body filling with elation and relief. See, Tilda L waved a finger at Tookie, her face stern. Wait a second. Isn't she supposed to be here? I know, like, the Belladonna picked her instead of Miracle to make Creamy mad. Mm-hmm. However, it also said you have a 100% chance of getting in if your mom was a Bella.
Yeah.
Which Creamy was. Mm-hmm. So, technically, yeah, Tookie should be there. Yep. She should be on the list, whether or not the Belladonna said so or anything.
Yep.
And probably Miracle in the next year or so anyway. There's no switcheroo. If anyone's in trouble, it's Tilda for switching out and getting Dylan, Piper, and Shiraz.
Yeah.
See, Tilda L waved a finger at Tookie, her face stern. But don't be putting your celebration shoes on just yet. Applauses still thinks you're a seamstress. Plus, when I was here, second year was crazy hard. Shoot, they're easy on you no-see Bellas.
I can't wait to see the second year.
This year was easy? Tookie sputtered in disbelief. See, Tilda L nodded, moonlight dancing on her face. But from here on out, it gets insane. Don't get me wrong, there's a new 777 sheriff in town, but I don't know exactly how I'll be changing things around here. I do know I'ma do things CL style. C Tilda L style, minus the crazy and spooky parts. And shoot, maybe I'll throw in some posing poetry slams and oh my god, who knows what else. But what I do know is that I want to make this a place where girls like my sister friends could have come. Her eyes watered with tears. But that'll be an uphill battle with the board, she said, wiping her tears away. Then she looked at Tookie. But mark my words, your segunda year will be like hell in heaven.
Second year, I'm guessing. Segunda year.
It must be.
This is another word for second. Somebody want to tell us in the comments below if segunda means second?
But mark my words, your segunda year will be like hell in heaven. Think you can handle that? Plus a uniform change from green to violet?
That'd be an upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Tookie nodded shakily. I want to try. I love it here. I feel like I almost belong. Because you do, girl. See, Tilda L's gaze was intense. Look, Tookie, you've been underestimated your entire life, including here. The wind is in your face. It's blowing harder than Gust Gape, and it ain't dying down anytime soon. But that's actually a good thing, because when people have low expectations, you're constantly going, ta-da! And they're like, wow, I had no idea. It doesn't take a lot to wow them when they don't expect much from you. You've got to go for your destiny now. That's how I became a 777 girl. Dream big. Bigger than you ever have. So big that people laugh in your face. You need to grab onto the handlebars of fierceness and not let go. Because you're special, Tookie. You might not know it yet, but you've got a beautiful light that shines inside of you.
You're not a cotton-headed ninny-muggins. You're just... special.
Tookie's jaw dropped. Someone else told me that exact same thing once, she whispered, remembering Wingtip's uplifting words from a year ago. It made sense that C. Tilda L had nearly echoed him. Wingtip Rayfay was her father,
Every single time we mention his name, let's mention both of his names. I'm sorry, I can't stand the fact that she needs to clarify, like, the Belladonna Queen, your mother, every time, and now it's Wingtip Rayfay, in case you forgot that this was a thing that happened last second.
Yep. How does it make sense that C. Tilda L echoed him?
Well, because, they're biologically related, so she's predisposed to use sayings that her father used.
Especially when he did not raise her. Because it's one thing if you pick up, like, phrases and, like, quotes from your parents, they're, like, inside jokes, but she didn't know.
She's just like, ironic, C. Tilda L.
Tookie breathed in, wanting to tell C. Tilda L something about her dad, that he was warm and tender, that he would have cared for her dearly, and that maybe...
This man.
Right?
You met him on the street, you don't know if he's warm and tender.
Maybe he went psycho after his life was shattered.
Probably.
Poor dude. That he would have cared for her dearly, and that maybe he'd descended into melancholy because he'd lost her forever. Then C. Tilda L touched her arm. Want to fly with me? Tookie... Wait a second. Why is that? That's all in the same paragraph. We get Tookie's thoughts and then C. Tilda L's quote.
Yeah.
That should have just been another paragraph.
This is something Tyra loves to do, is just smash everything into, like, one paragraph.
Tookie frowned. Like on T-Dad? When you brought us back from Ladorno? C-Tilda-L shook her head. Nah, girl, been there, done that. Outside the pouch. She lowered her chin, and her Batwing outfit disappeared, and 1,000 glittering necklaces appeared all over her body. It was the same outfit she had worn on T-Dod. One of the necklaces stretched out like a tentacle and looped over Tookie's head. Ew.
Thanks. I feel safe.
A warm light glowed. Tookie's nightgown lit up, revealing hundreds of strands of bejeweled necklaces. Tookie gasped. C-Tilda-L grinned. Girl, if you want to fly with me, you gotta look fly. You dropped something after Man Attack. Thought you'd like it back. C-Tilda-L placed her hands over Tookie's face. An incredible, familiar feeling swept over Tookie. The smize! This time, she recognized the energy that pulsed through her, and just like before, power zipped through her veins. Feeling like waves of intense ecstasy crashed into her, surrounding her with the most magnificent smells and tastes and sounds ever heard.
Blood oranges?
She felt tantalizing, luminescent, invincible, drop dead, beautiful. Because this is so pretty. Ready? C-Tilda-L reached out her hand to Tookie, just as she had when they'd stood atop the car on Ladorno Square. Tookie gripped it tight. She wasn't afraid this time, though. She was excited. She gripped C-Tilda-L's hand with pride and conviction. Now, climb on my back, C-Tilda-L instructed. And as they took off into the sky, Tookie thought about how much she'd changed since the day C-Tilda-L had plucked her from her family in Ladorno on the day of discovery a year before. She was a different person now. Confident, nervy.
Nervy?
Is that...
She's got nerve.
Oh,
maybe,
I took that as like being like...
Nervous?
Nervous, yeah, full of nerves.
I think it could be taken either way, maybe.
A friend who had friends...
Snake friends.
A leader. Suddenly, as the wind whipped through her multi-textured hair, she thought of the letter she had composed a few hours ago in her T-mail jail. The sentences flowed fluidly in her mind, just as they had done when she'd written them down on paper. This journey hasn't been easy for me. Every step of the way I've struggled, stumbled, doubted, cursed, and felt sure that I couldn't go on. But I feel stronger because of it, almost like I needed to go through it to get where I am now. I still don't know if Modelland is my place, or if I'm meant for something else. Maybe I'll always doubt. But maybe it's the doubt that keeps me determined, hungry, always looking to prove my...
Gosh, it's so long. I was thinking like, oh, this is a nice little summary.
It keeps going.
It's like 4 pages. This is cool.
Always looking to prove and improve myself, make myself better. Every night, as I lie in my Lumiere-less bed, I wonder how many other girls there are like me out there around the world. Maybe, like me, your father abandoned you, or perhaps you never even knew him. I mean, he didn't abandon you, but he also suddenly just doesn't care, which isn't great either. Maybe, like me, your father abandoned you, or perhaps you never even knew him. Maybe your mom's a terror, or you have no friends. Maybe you're not the best loved or best looking daughter. Maybe someone hurt you, but they're too nervous to tell anyone. Maybe you hurt yourself and want to stop, but don't know how. Maybe you give up your body freely, hoping to get love in return. Or maybe you look at everyone else's bodies and then compare them to and detest your own. Maybe people hurl angry, hurtful words at you, making you want to curl up and disappear. Maybe you hate your reflection, where everyone thinks you're the prettiest, but you still feel ugly inside. Maybe you're under intense pressure that you think you can never overcome. Maybe someone tells you daily that you aren't smart or pretty or skinny or talented or good enough. I know what you are going through. I've made a difficult journey to get here, and I have a lot farther to go. I must fight for my place every single day. It's easy to shine when everything is perfect, but when things are a little shaky, the best truly emerge to show it won't tear them down. That's when the struggle to succeed really starts. I pray you find that strength inside of you, that special inner light that shines extra bright. I want to dedicate my struggle and all my time at Modelland to you. Everything I've gone through, everything I'll continue to face, is all for you, and I want you to make me a promise. Take all your pain, take all the hurt you're feeling and your bad memories and your darkest thoughts, and send it out to the universe, to me. I'll be your vessel. I'll carry all that hurt inside me so that you can be free, and every challenge I go through at Modelland will be for me and you, for us. We can do this, but I'm going to need you too. When I feel weak, scared, or like I want to give up, I need you to send your strength and power up to me on this mountain. I can't make it through this place alone, okay? Promise? I believe in you with all my heart, and I hope you believe in me. I just want us to get to the place where we believe in ourselves just as strongly. And besides, there's always room for you in the exclusive Unikas crew. Fierce in love. Tookie RG. Remember, girl.
Remember, girl.
Tookie and C-Tilda-L swept through the sky, circling within the Modelland borders. Suddenly, Something invisible tugged at Ctilda's body, pulling her toward the mysterious cemetery within the diabolical divide. Ctildel glanced back at Tookie. I'm getting the sensation that I'm about to teleportal.
You can't control that?
I guess not. She yelled over the rushing air. Teleportal where? Tookie yelled back, confused. I don't know, Ctildel answered. Sometimes this happens. The universe tells me to teleportal, and even though I don't know where I'm going, I just go with it.
I think you should get that checked out.
Yeah. She gestured to the 6 silvery gravestones directly below them. If you let go of my hand, you'll float gently back to Modelland. You don't have to come with me. I don't know what we're in for. Just months ago, Tookie would have dropped Ctilda's hand in an instant, too afraid to face the unknown. But now, the idea intrigued her. It would be an adventure, an experience. Better yet, an experiment. She clutched Ctilda's hand hard. I want to go with you. Are you sure? Hells yeah, Tookie yelled. All right, girl, let's do this, Ctildel shouted. She arched her back, and their bodies pivoted and shot toward the ground with breakneck speed. The wind snapped through Tookie's hair. She felt the skin of her cheeks pressing back as they gathered momentum. The cemetery loomed closer, closer, so close that Tookie could read the names on the graves. Muse Melodia, Muse Pranza, Muse Chromia, Muse Dramatia, Muse Fabrica, Muse Texture. Each stone glowed fiery gold as they approached, but instead of crying out in fear, Tookie let out an adventurous whoop. She thought again of the new letter she'd written for T-Mail Jail, recalling how she had addressed it to every forget-a-girl in the entire world, and how she had signed off, Tookie, dotting her I with RG for Remember Girl. The Intoxibella and soon-to-be Segunda Bella shot like arrows toward the earth. A black hole opened up as their bodies approached. Just as Tookie and Ctildel entered, the hole magically, seamlessly swallowed them up, and the two of them disappeared. The end.
I'm free, I'm free.
Wow, I can't wait for the next installment of this treasure of a story.
It's been, 10, 12 years or something since she wrote this book?
It's been a hot second.
It is, let's see, this was copyright 2011.
So 10 years now. Happy 10-year anniversary, Modelland. Wow! I'm glad we could put this finale together for you and celebrate.
This bothers me so much. Especially the letters. If letters were ever going to be a thing for this book, they should have been spaced out equally throughout the book. Mm-hmm. Because the sad thing is, the letters have shown the most character growth for Tookie. She doesn't exhibit any other character growth ever. She just does 180s. The only times we get senses of her growing are when she writes these letters, but they're too sporadic to actually show consistent character growth. Mm-hmm. And now at the end, she has addressed this letter to all of the girls and is addressing everyone in the world. And it stays in her journal.
That's true.
What I think would have been better to help show character growth is to show the growth through letters throughout the whole book. And then at the end, either have Tookie give up the letters or something and have someone else find it or something to continue on that cycle to go help someone else. But instead they just say, all right, here's all of my letters and my growth, and we're gonna lock it up and then throw away the key and no one will ever read it.
I know this is Tyra really speaking through Tookie to her audience, being like, I wrote this book for all of these people, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But that's something I feel like is more fitting of an acknowledgments page. And I'm sure she goes through it. Her acknowledgement page is pages long. And I don't really feel the need or desire to go through it right now.
I've heard it's really funny.
It's funny. I'm sure somebody else has read it, but I am just so over this book and ready to edit the final episode and get it to you. It's extensive.
My favorite line in the acknowledgments is she's going through thanking everyone, and she's essentially, I want to thank Stephen King. It feels so good to even type your name, especially because people will assume we are friends. I want to thank you for writing on writing. Yep, I read it twice. I may have failed when it comes to your advice that no one should use too many adverbs and adjectives, but Modelland is so splendiferously, kaleidoscopically, out of this world colorful, I couldn't help myself. Please forgive me.
My work is so much cooler than what you expected to be. I do not have to follow your advice.
Yep. And also, I don't like that she writes his name in there just to thank him for writing a book. Because instead she mentioned that people are going to think they're friends, and second of all, think that he read and helped edit the book or gave feedback, which I can guarantee he did not.
Yeah, I'll make sure in my next acknowledgments to mention J.K. Rowling and Christopher Paolini and Leigh Bardugo and just like all the greats out there, and just be like,
you guys are such great authors. I want people to think we're friends.
Thank you. I love you guys so much, and I know you never touched my books, but it means a lot to me that you exist.
It's like, that's not thanking. Part of it, she thanks him for writing the book that obviously did help her write this, but she also then says that I ignored all of your advice.
I ignored your rules anyway, but great book.
There are so many grammatical errors in this book, and I'm going to go back and tally them to see how many that we happen to catch.
It's quite a few. And there's probably plenty we never caught. We were just so busy reading through it. So captured and enthralled with all of this detail.
That, and there's a bunch of loose endings that are never tied up. Because, again, Tyra did expect to turn this into a series that I don't think will ever happen at this point.
It's not looking good.
I don't like it.
No. I feel like the ending didn't hurt me as much as I remembered it hurting me.
I remember being a lot more upset the first time we read it.
Now that I've had time to grieve and process all the tragedies I've been through reading this book, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'll be okay. Like, if you enjoy this book, then good on you. I'm glad that you like her work. It's definitely something that's very unique, and there's nothing else I've ever read that's comes close to anything like it. So, like, I get the appeal. I'm not going to ever sell this book to somebody telling them that I think it's good or well written or that it's a valuable use of time to invest into this big of a book. Mm-hmm. For what it is. You know, if you want to read through it and get the ha-has out like we did, I don't think this was a waste of time because we got to enjoy time together and get to interact with you guys, especially now, but I wouldn't recommend it otherwise.
It was definitely entertaining to see how wacky it was. Alice in Wonderland on drugs.
Yes.
And it's not the worst book I've ever read either. There are other books that are more well-known series that have worse characterizations. So,
yeah.
I think the saddest part about the book is that we've seen, and like some of our ideas, I feel like Tyra could have tweaked a couple things, made some adjustments to the characters, show more growth, and it could have been like, yes, a very wacky story in a very mystical, bizarre world, but it could have still had a good story. Mm-hmm. But I think she fails in a lot of those areas by trying to be too over the top or be like, oh, plot twist.
Yeah.
I don't think that trying to do that helped her case.
No.
But yeah, not the worst book I've ever read, but again, I think it could have been a whole lot better had Tyra had maybe something to tell her no.
Maybe had she called up Stephen King and gotten some advice actually and maybe listened to him and actually followed through with that.
Or like what's the line from Jurassic Park? You focus so hard on what you could do that you never stop to think about whether you should do it.
You wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun. I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
I feel like there are parts of the book that definitely exhibit that you maybe shouldn't have had a beheading that was just random. There's so much unnecessary violence.
Self-harm in a child's book. Sexual innuendos that shouldn't be read by anybody under 18.
I definitely don't think that she handles some really somber topics with as much tact as they deserve. Mm-hmm. stuff with Lizzie and C-Tilde-L. We even point out a couple times some of the, like, especially C-Tilde-L's message of, well, if you don't help me, I'm just going to keep harming myself. It's like, okay, that's also not your own responsibility. You can try and help people, but ultimately that is not on you. You can't shoulder someone's burden for them. And that's not on you if they continue to keep harming themselves.
Yeah.
That is not your own fault. And I think that we got that message from C-Tilde-L. That's not a good message to have. On top of it, Tyra undoes her message so many times. I can see, especially in Tookie's last letter, Tyra has meant this to be a very uplifting, empowering book to be like, you know, not everyone fits her like conventional standards of beauty, which do change throughout history, have shifted drastically. And so it's okay if you don't fit whatever the conventional standard of beauty is. You just need to find the people in your life that see you as beautiful for who you are and for how you look, because you will find someone like that. Eventually you will. And you should be proud of yourself and accept yourself. The problem with Tyra's book is that we get a lot of the message of, well, you're beautiful if. Tookie, part of the reason I say she has no character growth is because she doesn't succeed at any of the challenges. No one ever changes their opinion of her until she gets a smile. All they do is slap something on her face and like, oh, you're gorgeous. It's like, so you put on like a hat or a mask.
Yeah.
And now you're beautiful. That hasn't changed who you are or made people recognize your own beauty or your talent. That's not actually helpful. And like all the conventional standards of beauty they still exist in Modelland. And C-Tilde-L at the end says that she's going to try and change that, but she essentially won't be able to.
Yeah.
It undoes the message a lot. Everyone's still mean to Piper and Dylan and Tookie.
They don't do much the last few chapters, do they? They're there, but they just don't do anything.
They should not have been there. They should not have been there. Like they don't make it into the visions room, but like they leave right before it. But they shouldn't have been there from the time Creamy shows up till that point. Shouldn't have been there. They're not mentioned again.
Yep.
But again, it's just sad. Tyra undoes her message so many times, doesn't actually show anything of character growth or changes in the idea of beauty, or like no one ever like looks at Piper, who has albinism, and no one's ever like, wow, you may look different, but you look so cool, or, you know, you would look great with this, or you did wonderful in this specific topic, or no one's like, wow, Dylan, you just look so awesome with this, or you're great at this task. There's none of that. Even at the end, they're still unikas. They're still misfits, essentially, is the vibe that even Tookie still has.
No, come to think of it, we never learned about how well they did in class. They just kind of existed in this world, but they didn't, because there are so many characters and so many things going on and so many loose ends eventually. That was Piper good at modeling? I don't know. Is Shiraz good at telling color time? I don't know. It's all very arbitrary. I get why they're there, but maybe we should have, I don't know, like expounded on their abilities and capabilities and what they see their worth in, because all we heard was, I'm body shaming issues and I'm short and I'm very white and other issues that I neglect. But you'll see what I'm saying. Like, we only focus on their one thing that makes them them, and we never get to see other sides of them other than they're Tookie's best friends.
Yep. And somehow Tookie's a leader. I don't think she ever exhibits leadership.
She's a main character, so she's the leader. She's the protagonist, so therefore she's elected to any leadership position because that's what finds interest in stories.
What a book with a bunch of crazy stuff, and these are some wacky, like,
beautiful art.
Beautiful artwork.
Gotta love her
the inside
Lord
cover.
of the Rings kind of inspired, kind of inner cover, maybe. It's just beautiful.
Yep.
I might have liked a map of Modelland and the Diabolical Divide. That might have been kind of handy to use so I can tell if they're lying about how fast they travel through things. And
with their just no rules magic.
No rules.
No
It's a lawless land, guys. It's Modelland.
Yeah. Any other closing thoughts? Good or bad?
This is not a great book. It's not a good book, but I am thankful that we've taken the time to go through it. and recorded our thoughts and gotten to share the experience. The book has not been good, but the experience has been great.
It's been very entertaining.
Yes.
In like watching a train wreck and not being able to look away kind of deal.
Just like that. Yeah. Those are my closing thoughts. It had potential to be something. It wasn't something, but at least we were very entertained along the way.
Yep.
So I guess if that was what Tyra sought to do, was to entertain, she did. A+.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. This book is an A+.
I can't say that. I think it's wacky. Well, yeah. At least it was entertaining. It was entertaining to see how wacky of a world she built. And again, I'm just really disappointed that she undoes her message and thesis multiple times.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, it's been awesome interacting with you guys in the comments recently. Make sure you log something down below if you've been along with us on this journey the whole way. If you've recently been introduced to us, welcome. I'm glad you like the series. Not sure that we'll have a chance to do anything like it again. Mostly just logistics. We now live on opposite sides of the state, so without being roommates, it makes it really hard to get together and record things. And also, I don't know what could ever top Modelland, but if you guys have suggestions in the comments below for books for us to check out, whether or not we get to record things in this sort of a fashion and do editing like this, it might be fun to get our reactions to different things we can read. So be sure to let us know and hit subscribe if you're interested in things like that, or potentially you want to see some of the other projects I'm working on. I occasionally do vlogs, do lots of different sorts of editing with Animash. If you decide to part ways now, I completely understand, because the rest of the things I do on this channel are nothing related to this, but maybe in the future I'll return to a project like this again.
If you guys are interested, definitely in hearing us read and comment on some of these either crazy, good, bad books, we'd love suggestions. There's a couple I can think of that might be entertaining to nitpick, but...
Oh, for sure. So, thanks guys for joining us on this journey, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye!